forget how horses don't doubt.
Hi, it's Maggie Mayfield, super talented voice actress and comedian, and I'm excited to be on the equally talented, equally wonderful, and just delightful podcast with the Keith Andrew Network. Enjoy.
Keith Andrew, and you're watching the one and only Keith Andrew Network. It is episode 763. That's right, 763. I'm here with beautiful and talented Maggi Mayfield. Maggi Mayfield. I'm here with beautiful and talented Maggi Mayfield. It's a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to the Keith Andrew Network.
I'm so excited. Thank you for having me. Your sweater is like on point Christmas style, by the way.
No, thank you.
Christmas. I'm a sucker for a good pun.
No, absolutely. No, that's funny. I used to work over at Walmart, and I'm like, they have holiday shirts, and I have like a pumpkin for Halloween. That's for Christmas. And I'm like, well, I do like cats, so why not just do it?
Yeah, I know. They always have like the best at Target too. They have so much like punny Christmas stuff. Feliz Navidad. Can't get enough. It's so good.
No, absolutely. Now, with that being said, it is a normal conversation. Freedom speech, self-expression. You can say anything you want. Talk about whatever you want. Remember, it's PG-13. But with that being said, it is uncensored. So you have every right to say what you want. And the first question I want to ask you is for people who want to know who you are. Besides you are beautiful, you can be an model if you wanted to. But for people who want to know, you are a voiceover actor, and you're also a singer. Now, long card. You are, actually, is this the right card? Comedian. Sometimes I'm a comedian too, but you're a comedian and you're a voice actor. At least I get the voice actor part right?
Yes. Actually, right before this, I was working on they're called e-learning courses, all about how the internet works. Who knew that there were so many things that needed to happen for us to connect on Zoom? So that's what I've been doing. But yeah, I'm a voiceover actor and a comedian most days, and sometimes a singer. Basically, I just play my guitar on stage and sing parody songs. So that if that counts as singing, then sure, I'm a singer too.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun.
It is super fun. And I haven't been doing that long. Like, I've been a comic for 6 years, and I only started the guitar thing like 2 years ago. And it's just fun. It's just really fun for me.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Now, I do want to finish up the second part of that question, but I do have a lot of great questions I want to ask you. Don't worry. Okay. I make a lot of people sneeze. I was told I make people drink, so don't worry if you wipe your nose or anything. Just say I have that effect on people.
Perfect.
But with that being said, tell us our audience a little bit about your background and how you came to do what you do now.
That's a tough one because I do a lot of things. So I guess if you're talking voiceover, I got into radio a long time ago. I was working as an on-air personality for over 15 years in so many different places like Los Angeles and Phoenix and Seattle and Champaign, Illinois and Green Bay, Wisconsin, all over the place. So I followed my career all over the country, and believe it or not, radio, as glamorous as it is, doesn't pay a lot. In fact, a lot of my paychecks included free food at local restaurants. It included free gas for a company-driven car. I think one time I got a cell phone. So although it is super glamorous, you can't really pay your rent in concert tickets. So in order to make a little extra cash to make sure I wouldn't fall behind on like student loan payments, I would do voiceover work. I figured I got a job from the Sunset Galleria in Las Vegas. They hired me to record a 60-second commercial, and they paid like $100. I was like, this is the easiest money I've ever made. And so I just figured out how to get a hold of those people and find clients and record things. And I had been working in radio all the way up until March of this year when the pandemic hit, and went to work by myself. Like I work for myself now, just doing voiceover work. And so that's how I got started. That's how I did that.
No, absolutely. You know, if you're interested, there's also other websites where you can make money on. You know, besides YouTube, of course, you need a couple thousand people. But there's Vizio. Well, Vizio too, you can actually make money on. But there's actually Cameo and CelebVM.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And adults only, or fans only, you know, like those two.
But with everything that you accomplished in the voiceover work, what were some of your, and I was listening to some of your work, you're actually really good at it. You're actually terrific at it.
I would hope so. Thank you.
Have you ever thought about working like for Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, or any other big name companies?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the dream, isn't it? Like, I would love to be a series regular on a cartoon show. And that requires just a lot of auditioning. And I just got signed with an agent in November. So, you know, it's a slow process. It just takes time. And you just keep showing up and keep auditioning and just know that like your role is coming for you. Like it'll be there. So.
Hey, if you're interested, maybe you can help me out.
Yeah, actually, I wrote a free book about that, how to get started in voiceovers. And it breaks it all down, like where to find work, how to charge clients, what you need to get started, where to look, all that good stuff. What you need in your studio, like how to set up a vocal booth on a budget. I call myself a part-time Jew. I grew up, my mom would light the menorah, and then my dad would be like, it's not enough lights. And then we'd spend the rest of the weekend at Home Depot. So I'm like a part-time Jew where I like to do a lot with very little cash. That's it. So I don't think you need a ton of capital to get started. Use what you got. It's kind of my philosophy. So
it's what you have counts. It's not what you. It's nice to have these things, all these things will fall in your lap, but what you have, you have to make the best of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't like the idea of like spending a bunch of money. It's like, it's what you have and who you know, right? That helps you get to where you want to go.
No, absolutely. You know, it's funny, you know, Hanukkah is coming up, you know, this week, actually on the 11th. And he just reminded me of a funny story. We all take turns doing the prayer. I don't know the prayer, even if it saved my life on it. Mm-hmm. But there's a part where my brother before me, I'm the youngest out of 4 brothers and 1 sister. So one of my brothers like, oh, what was his girlfriend or wife at the time said, oh, do you know the prayer, the Hanukkah prayer? Yeah, I know. He didn't even know it. He said, Veni Vanu. It's like Veni Vanu. And then he's like, broken guitar. It's like, okay, that's enough out of you.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Like I said, you can make, like I said, you can make anything into a comedy.
I think so. I think so. Some people have darker, sicker sense of humors than others. So.
No, I agree. Now, the next one I want to ask you mentioned that you were a comedian. Who influenced you to become a comedian, and who are some of your favorite comedian people?
Ooh, I should always be prepared for this question, but I never feel like I am. I don't know if you're familiar with him, but Mark Maron is a favorite of mine. He runs a podcast called WTF. And it's just him as like a sad comic, like, oh, I'd never made it on SNL. And he just talks to other comedians and actors. And I mean, he had like Barack Obama on one time. But as a radio person, I was like, oh, I really connected with him. And I thought, you know, at the time I was going through a divorce. And so I was like, the radio is fun, but it's super PG and I've got more stuff I want to say. And I just got on stage at that time, 6 years ago, to kind of help work through some of my emotional sadness, if you will. Favorite comedians now? like some of my favorites are on the Up and Up. Mary Kennedy, who plays New Fiona on Shameless, is one of my absolute favorites. She's hysterical and amazing. Kristen Lunderberg is a comedian. She plays the violin while she plays. Boss Lady sings rap. Charlie Hester is also one of my favorites, and she plays the ukulele while she plays. I have a thing for musical comedy, if you can't tell. Yeah, so just all of my friends who should be far more famous than they are, and they're just not there yet, they crack me up and make me laugh so hard. So
it's all about the being in the right place and the right time.
Yeah, and that's kind of how this business goes. Is like you just keep going and just know that what is for you will come to you when it's time, when it's ready.
No, absolutely. For me, when I think of comedians, think of Robin Williams. I know it sounds like an oxymoron. Robin Williams, George Carlin,
Brilliant.
Dennis Leary,
Yeah.
Gabriel Iglesias. There's so many, and there's ones that are nice people. They're not funny though, but there are nice people like Seth Meyers, the nicest guy you would ever meet. I just don't think he's funny. Pablo, whatever the hell his name is.
Pablo Francisco, I love him. He's so funny. I got a chance to interview him.
Yes, but he is an asshole.
Oh, I didn't get that. Oh.
Well, the reason I say that is because I went to my brother's college in 2008 just to visit. And on that day, Steph Meyers and Pablo were there. And
yeah,
I was obsessed with Pablo. I thought he was really funny. I wanted to meet him. Steph Meyers, stood up, shook my hand, and said, "I hope you enjoyed the show." He was the nicest person. I would love to have him on my show. The nicest person. Pablo, on the other hand, didn't even bother looking at anyone, had his head down. I went to shake his hand. He didn't even do that. He gave me one of those weak handshakes, and he's an asshole. But looking back, Steph Meyers was actually, he is a really nice guy. And unless I talked to him more than the other guy, that was my fault.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what his set was like. And they're bombarded all the time. But I think people forget too that it's a business. Like I know you said Seth Meyers isn't like super funny, but sometimes some of the super funny people get so stuck in their head about being an entertainer that they forget it is a business, and you have to network, and you have to go out there and like sell yourself and find your audience and get up in front of people who want to see you. It's not easy, and you do have to have a business mindset to be successful, if that makes sense.
No, I agree with you. When I answer this question, now I got to take a quick commercial break. For me, I don't like paying people to be on my show, because for me, my message is about, even if I didn't do this in the beginning, I can do it right now. The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. To prove to them, them out to something. And that should be good enough for anyone. And I don't like paying people, because I feel like, like you said, it is a business and everything. It's kind of like a business transaction. But when I approach people, I tell them my message. This is not a scam. This is not like, always guilt tripping. I do this because I enjoy it. Makes me feel good about myself. I'll turn myself into an inspiration for people out there. And I extend my hand to every single person who I interviewed in friendship, same way I did to you and all the other 762 people. But there's other people that are kind of like, you have to pay me for your time. But it's kind of like, if I'm paying you, you're not doing it because it's a good message. You're just doing it because you just want to be paid. I know if I had my own studio, I would love to take you out for lunch one day. That's my way of paying back. But you're not traveling anywhere. You're just sitting at home in front of a computer screen. It's kind of like, I have to give you $300 just to sit on your couch. So for me, I feel like it takes away from it. But at the same time, I understand, people, especially now, the people are struggling and they need the money, and the government's not doing a damn thing about that. But that's a different subject. But I don't feel like if I pay someone, I feel like it demeans what I'm doing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But I didn't mean to complain to you. I do apologize.
No, you're great. I thought you were going to commercial break, so I was being quiet. But
Well, with that being said, we are actually going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm going to ask you about social media. And have you ever worked with people with disabilities? And are you willing to work with people with disabilities? When we come back.
I'm Penny Fine.
Hi, it's Mimi Chen.
Hi, my name is Ellen George.
I'm Shauna Todd.
Hey guys, I'm Anastasia Edwards.
Hi, this is Jackie Nunez.
Hi, I'm Amelia Rose.
Hey guys, I'm Alexandria Denise, and you're watching Keith Andrews Show. He's doing a terrific job. Make sure you like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more awesomeness.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Keith Andrews Network. I'm here with my new good friend. Thank you for joining us. It's a great episode that we're having on the road to the holidays. And as you know, holiday theme. Actually, I put my hand up and then you see the background. I like having the green screen, but if you move like this, it kind of looks like you're in a bubble. So I try to do this. Like, okay, if I don't move, maybe it will be fine.
Yeah. I know, like my shoulder, it's like going in and out. I wore a green dress. That was dumb.
Oh, yeah, I'm wearing green too. But, it's certain green screens, they tell you, don't wear this color because you've seen those newscasters. They are in front of the green screen and they're like, oh, we can see the woman's chest. And like, yeah, don't wear that color. Why? What's wrong? Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. There should be a book where it's like green screen 101. Don't wear this and don't move so much. Even though I am kind of cartoony, so
maybe that's the theme of the episode. Is like we all want to be a cartoon someday.
True. Look who was former president, right?
Well,
different subject. But with that being said, I'm going to pass the show over to you. But before I redo that, the last two questions I want to ask you: the theme of the show? Have you worked with people with disabilities? And are you willing to work with people with disabilities?
Yes and yes. In radio, I have had the immense pleasure of working with Special Olympics of Illinois. And a good friend of mine has a son who has Down syndrome, and he's just the sweetest. At the time before my dog passed away, we would take him and my dog, who he just loved so much, to the buddy walk every year, and just watching his face light up and get so excited, and like all these cartoon like Spider-Man would be out there, and Anna and Elsa from Frozen. And he's no different than any other kid that just wants to like open rad presents on Christmas Day and go to school and hang out with his friends and play at gym. He's no different than any other kid. Special Olympics, same thing. Just being an ambassador for them and doing a lot of the runs and walks and the plane poles, pushes, and just the derby. One of the best, most humbling, grounding experiences, I think, of my life, working with them.
No, absolutely. That goes to the hint of the show that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. It's true to them. You can still amount to something. Now, I deal with a lot of assholes. And my dad says to me, do not go back to, I'm just going to throw out there, Woodbury Commons. And the reason for Woodbury Commons is my dad likes to say to me, how many times have you got fired? When are you going to learn that this place is not, because they treat you horribly over there, number one, treat you like slaves. even though that's the joke about Walmart. But, you know, they treat you horribly. And for me, they're like, I was going on record, fired one time. Okay, I was fired once. That was my own stupidity. We can talk about that later on. But I had 13 different jobs in 1 year.
Whoa.
Because I'll give you an example. You're my boss. You tell me to do something, but I would stand there and look. You'd be like, it should be done like this. And they're like, no, shut up. You're not in charge. They tell you what to do. Just do what you're told to do.
Mm-hmm.
But there's other ones where it wasn't the right environment, or, you know, one of my favorite sarcastic remarks is I used to work at US Polo, and the guy was a real, you know, white supremacist, neo-Nazi. He said, long story about that, but it is true. He said to me, you know, we don't know how to deal with people like you. And I'm like, well, you wouldn't say that if I was black or anything. It's like, what do you mean you don't know how to deal with people like you? Even though you could take that every way you want.
Right.
There's just so many other bullshit excuses, but I don't want to complain to you. I'm just saying, I found, long story short, I found what I love doing. This makes me happy. You know, a lot of people are, well, why do you do the talk show? Apparently retail wasn't working out. And it's funny enough, my doctor said to me, and I was a cashier recently, and older people say, you know, Keith, you're very talkative, you're very cartoony, you're very active. You should be like an entertainer. And I'm like, well, I am a podcast host in my free time, and I enjoy it. Then why are you here? Why are you injecting yourself to all this negativity? So, you know, it's one of those things where, yes, I have a great persona, very bubbly personality, but because I was handed a shitty hand, first off, you should have lost your hands, number one, but you should show people, hey, look at what you're able to accomplish. So, yes, I made a whole bunch of mistakes in my life, but I'm showing you.
Yeah, who hasn't?
No, go ahead.
So what's the end goal for you, Keith? Like, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I'm a big fan of Bill Maher, and I like professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying like, oh my God, I want to be an A-lister and people fall over each other for me.
Yeah.
I would like to have money to fall back on, so I don't have to worry about being on my own.
Amen.
Just enjoying life, just becoming not to sound like a dictator or anything, but a lot of people call me a dick, but they say, like I said, uncensored. It's just saying, I want to build something. I want to make a solid statement of say, hey, this kid is on the spectrum of being retarded because he reads and learns at a 5th grade level, but look at what he was capable of doing all by myself for 7.5 years. This is my way of opening doors for me, because can't go to college, can't do, you know, what you do, even though I could, but it will be at a slower pace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're a 10, I could be like, you know, a 5 or 6, but I'm showing you that labels, and the whole point of the show, labels do not dictate who you are and who you want to be. So if you want something, get off your ass, don't make excuses, and just go for it.
Yes. Yes. I feel like I know a few Karens that need to hear that.
No, it's true, because, you know, for a long time I was making excuses about myself, about I can't do this, I can't go and do that, not to lay ass on the past or anything. But if you have the heart and passion, just say, you know what, give me an opportunity, and I promise you it will be, like for an example, you gave me an opportunity to have you on the show. You know, that's
I think you gave me the opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. I like to be remembered as saying, look at what I can do, but well, I like to give back too. But that being said, with the last 2 minutes, I will pass it over to you. First one I want to ask you is, when I first approached you, I want you to be brutally honest.
Okay.
But be honest as much as you can.
Okay.
So when I approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction? What made you say yes? How do you feel now? And would you recommend it to anyone else? Be brutally honest.
Yes, I would recommend it to anyone else. When I first got it, I thought it was sweet. I love getting asked to do podcasts. It's like one of my favorite things. What was the other question that you asked? Would I recommend it? Yes. How do I feel now? I feel good. Man, you have me jump through a lot of hoops though. I'll tell you, Keith, I was like, I've never had to work this hard to be on a podcast before. He was like, just putting on makeup is like a big deal for a voice actor. I work in my closet by myself. So he was like, it's going to be video. So get all dressed up in holiday stuff. But it was fun. It's super fun. I love, now I'm just going to make video content for the rest of the day. It's like, I put on makeup. We're ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do have some great ideas I want to talk to you about off the air. I know where people can follow you on social media. The last question I want to ask you is, how can people follow you on social media?
They can click the follow button. No, I'm just kidding. I'm on all the platforms at Maggie Mayfield, but it's spelled weird. Maggi. There's no E on Maggie. Maggi Mayfield. That's it.
Oh, absolutely. Now I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road. Wrapping up this interview segment. It's a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. I just want to say thank you for your time.
No, thank you for having me. You're so great. Thank you.